I'm hearing golden elixir. There's a recalibration taking place on a cellular level. You're remembering who you always have been by no longer being who you are. I think there's something about sacred inner union taking place for whoever this reading is for, okay? I'm seeing an x-ray as well, a chest, like a lung x-ray. Someone's breathing different is what's coming through. Okay. We've got the Two of Swords and the Three of Swords. Somebody did make a decision in the past and it led to heartbreak. But it also led to something that was beneath the surface. I think that's why I'm seeing a chest x-ray. It's something that was always there beneath the surface that they weren't addressing. They're disconnected from. So whatever decision they made was based off that old wound that then needed to resurface from that decision that they made in order for them to finally see this heartbreak, okay, and to clear it. Ace of Pentacles, the Tower at the bottom of the deck. They need to, it's like I'm hearing, it's like a graveyard was in the chest and not kind of this beautiful grounds for building something solid, like a castle is what I'm seeing here. Golden elixir. It's like they've been taking some kind of healing potion or something. You know, the star at the bottom of the deck. Show you this card, she's pouring onto him. And the elixir, golden elixir. This is taking a lot of time for somebody to recognize. It's kind of like they've been pouring into themselves by taking actions, maybe different kind of actions, but they've still not really fully understood what's happening beneath the surface, so they can access this Ten of Pentacles. However, this is what's changing, I think, and that's why there's this powerful kind of energy. It doesn't even feel like a force, it just feels really healing. Yeah, almost like a waterfall is what I'm seeing. Okay, so we've got Judgment, and then we have peeking behind it, the Sun. Definitely clarity. Someone's understanding their decisions of the past in a different way. They're seeing clearly now. They're seeing where the wounds were based, right? Which is why their decisions were what they were. King of Wands at the bottom of the deck. This is someone who's who was very lust-driven, very freedom-driven, but it wasn't really freedom all along. It was their wounds holding them down. There's Three of Cups at the bottom of the deck as well. They were stuck for a long time, especially when it comes to their abundance. They were stuck for a long time. But they created this abundance or not, it was always something that just wasn't fulfilling enough or wasn't enough, right? Queen of Cups. Okay. I'm hearing something about pouring unconditional love into, either they're experiencing this from someone outside of them, or they're finally accessing that divine feminine within and healing through that. There is something I want to say. The feminine, she's a bird who requires freedom to fly. But she does need that safe space to come back to. This could be you within you, the inner union I mentioned before. So that inner divine masculine energy is your inner safe space that you create, that grounded kind of reality where you can come back to every time. The divine feminine needs that freedom to flow and fly and recognize who she is and go through whirlwinds of every kind of level and layer of who she is emotionally, energetically, okay? When she hasn't got that stable, safe space, she can kind of lose herself completely, go off the rails is what I'm hearing. And this could have been someone's inner feminine energy at least. But they're understanding divine feminine energy now in a very different way. They're understanding the unconditional love that they didn't receive, but also that they weren't given to themselves, they weren't acting from. They were always I'm seeing kind of they were going to connections specifically where they were just kind of, I'm hearing feeding off a loop, and it just feels like it was just like this kind of feeding off each other's energies, whatever these connections were. Tower. I'll show you that. Yeah, I definitely think this has been a lot of lust-driven energies here for this, whoever this message is for, okay? Yeah, so if you can't trust someone, the question is, especially here, how much can they not trust you? If you're so not being able to trust them, there's something there, because either they've either acted or done something in the past in a way that broke your trust to begin with, and it needs to be rebuilt, right? And you make a decision whether you want to do that or not. Or you're the one who's broken their trust, and now you're wondering whether the same is going to happen to you. Okay? But how are you, what decisions are you making? How are you acting now? From what place? From a wounded place? From a more healed space? How can they trust you? It's not about how trustworthy they are, it's about how trustworthy are you. That's how much you can then trust yourself, because when you're making decisions in alignment with yourself, you can trust you. The Wheel. Oh, and the Lovers. Yeah, decisions. This is, someone's definitely making decisions in a brand new way. This is a real a chapter, a cycle they are closing out, so they can finally, going from the making decisions and leading to heartbreak to finally making a decision from a more healed heart. This is someone who did make a decision in the past that we mentioned, and it wasn't the divine feminine energy that they chose, right? But ever since, all they've been wanting is that love of the divine feminine. I don't even think they've recognized it as love. It's just that healing energy that the divine feminine brings. They've searched for it every connection they've ever had throughout, like, whatever this time has been, and they've just not got it. The golden elixir is becoming prevalent. It's something that is held by the divine feminine energy. Now again, this could be within you. Okay. Strength. You know, it's interesting about this deck. The strength card here is 11. Before, when tarot, before kind of numbers were connected to like zodiacs and all these kind of things with tarot, the strength was the number 11. Now we know it as number 8 connected to Leo, but it was the number 11, okay? And justice card, which is now the number 11, was the number 8, okay? Which is really interesting, because justice is all about kind of divine justice, karma, right? Number 8 is associated with Saturn, the Lord of Karma, okay? So this is kind of giving to me this energy, with it being the number 11 here. It's kind of like someone's been finding some kind of inner balance, which is bringing them that inner strength to regain that stability within themselves. I think that they've had to heal through some karmic energies that they weren't going to learn the lessons from with divine feminine. They need to be in their divine self with the divine feminine energy, right? This is what they're finding, this inner balance now. They're understanding their inner needs and wants and how they can come together within themselves to create this for themselves, right? To create that energy of flying, like feeling free and flying, by being able to explore the heart and soul, right? From a divinely guided space, and having that inner stability to come back to that inner anchor. Yeah, so that doesn't mean going from this person to that person. It's not about that. It's about you finding your soul purpose, your soul path. It's not always about other people. It's about yourself. And so they've been finding their strength in their inner stability without feeling like they're stuck, right? I think that they've always thought they were going to be stuck in this kind of energy, especially when it comes to connections. Death. There's definitely been there was an ending with some kind of feminine energy, that's for sure. 8 of Swords. They've been trapped in this mindset for such a long time. They've really been trapped in this kind of lust-driven. I think that they've had a lot of sacral wounding, or at least there's been a lot of trauma that has been stored in their sacral chakra, right? I'm seeing orange, right? Because that's the colour of the sacral chakra. Maybe that's significant for you. Maybe you're drawn to orange, right? Could be like a burnt orange colour is what I'm seeing, okay? It's kind of like they've just been so trapped in that, entrapped. But now it's kind of like the path is opening up. They're understanding this better. I think they're having the right conversations with the right people. They've not been surrounded by the best people either. Like, you know, the mindsets, that kind of thing. When it comes to energies, like feminine and masculine energies, what it means to be in the divine versus the wounded space. The Emperor. Yeah, this did feel like a masculine energy is coming through. Yeah, no, the Emperor is finally understanding himself, is what's coming through. He's going on a real self journey of like self-transformation. This is self-discovery to a whole new level. Definitely known wounded feminine energies, and that's what he's been like, that's what he's constantly sought, or just found himself in this situation that it's just caused so much conflict. There's been no clear communication. It's just been conflicting communication. Wow. Sounds really stressful. Like, it feels, what I'm feeling right now, it feels really stressful. No wonder they think that connections are just, they're not all connections are like that. That's called operating from a wounded space and not having the space to, or the tools to heal, you know, work together to heal. Knight of Swords. Oh, God, they're rushing through now. They're recognizing what they want. It's kind of like no one can stop him when he knows what he wants, right? And I think this is what someone's becoming to embody. The more they're healing their heart and understanding themselves, the more they want to choose love again. And from a more healed space, because they're seeing this kind of example outside of them, is what I'm seeing as well. This could be an external divine feminine energy, right? I'm seeing that golden elixir again. She's like, she holds the key. She holds the potion. Ugh. 7 of Cups. I feel like they have a lot to fix here. 6 of Cups at the bottom of the deck. Something definitely happened in the past here. I think, yeah, there was betrayal in the past. They know they've messed up here. I say messed up. You know, when you're on the divine journey specifically, things happen where the unfold needs to take place. There was someone else involved. Whether the divine feminine is aware of this or not, there was, on this person, this Empress side, there was someone else involved. Okay, maybe multiple people. Doesn't have to be like a romantic, could be like family and friends, that kind of thing. But I'm getting like definitely external influences, the Hermit. I think this divine feminine energy has just been focusing on herself, her own, recognizing where she's not a walking mat, recognizing where she deserves better, the love and strength of the love in her heart. Okay, the Chariot. Okay, she's been moving on. The Star did want to come out. There's some kind of beautiful healing truly taking place. I think that these two are connected in such a way that they're healing each other on a whole new level. 2 of Cups. They're coming into this energy. Oh, and the 10 of Cups are beneath that as well. Oh, that's really nice. So I feel like they're coming into this energy where they are becoming even more aligned than they ever were, especially when they first entered each other's kind of vicinity of awareness is what I'm seeing. So it's kind of like, you know, that there was an imbalance, a serious imbalance, and now it's kind of like there's this internal, that transfiguration that we mentioned, right? Someone's realizing that they can't just keep umming and ahhing by themselves trying to make a decision. It's about coming together and making the decision in like a balanced state. And I feel like there's that inner union, bringing your inner energies together, but also like externally coming together to make this decision. But someone also recognizing that they're the person who now needs to take action to change the record for that wheel to turn. It's kind of, they're like in control of that wheel now turning. And they're also becoming much better at calming down before making decisions. And I'm not going, you know, rushing based off impulse or whatever. If they're feeling like this, they've ended something and they're wondering how they're going to ever get it back, right? But whatever it is, they're right, it ended. However, that cycle needed to end the way it did. That doesn't mean that you're meant to be apart forever, right? If this is your divine person, not something karmic or unhealthy or abusive, then there's a reason that certain cycles needed to take place. There's a lot of illusion, a lot of living in kind of, really, I'm seeing a lot of mental binds. Like, it's a lot of internal things that someone has either been told or as they've been brought up and growing up or whatever, or they've just told themselves, and it's constantly been dictating to them how they've been moving forward in their life, despite what they truly desire. But now this is where this kind of they're finally healing their perspective, their outlook. They can see they're happily ever after, right? And it's finally no longer clouded or less clouded than it used to be. Okay, so there's a lot of attraction here. But I think this is like, there's something about this finding the attraction within yourself for yourself. There's definitely a soul connection here. Okay, which is, it's giving that kind of mirrored energy. There's like a mirrored energy of these souls. I've just heard that the structures have finally broken, internal structures. Someone can finally move forwards towards their true deepest heart's desires. That's the divine masculine energy. Wow, it's like they finally cut off this energy that was just pouring kind of poison into them, but also kind of, they were just feeding off something that was just, it's like they had someone had an emotional hold over them in some way, shape or form, and this is what they're reflecting on, and they're understanding codependency at the bottom of the deck. Just as I said that, that's a sign right there. Okay, so they're finally seeing things more clearly, and they're wondering if it's too late. It's something that I've heard there as well. before everything had a meaning, it had a different meaning, right? So when something's happening externally outside of you, recognize what's going on within you, because you might be more connected cosmically here on Earth than you realize, okay? So honor your feelings. So if there's some kind of planetary thing going on or something, take note of what's happening internally with you, emotionally, mentally. I knew this was a divine connection, true love, romance of all lifetimes. Definitely a deep soul connection, this is. The attraction's just mutual. It's there regardless. It's just about how you're playing this out now, here, both of you, okay? Heart-to-heart conversations required from the heart, because before I feel like it's just been from a very wounded lower chakra. Yeah, it wasn't the heart speaking, it was the lust. That's because somebody didn't know how to transmute that lust into love, right? They were outsourcing to the wrong kind of energies, right? Love yourself first. They didn't know how to love themselves first. Again, codependency. Lack of self-worth equals a lack of self-respect, equals allowing anyone and anything to access you and your sacred energy, your sacred essence, and it should be reserved, right? Because otherwise people feed off that, truly. You have to be mindful of who you're allowing access to, not just who, but things in any way, shape or form, information that's coming into you, filtering in, getting to know each other with the heart-to-heart conversations as well. That's beautiful. You know, the more you love yourself, the more you know yourself, the more you can really offer that outside of you very soon, okay? The more you can offer that outside of you as well, from a true space, from an authentic space, and that can't always be easy, especially when you've been through a lot of trauma, and you have to be honest about that. Yeah, especially when in the past you've had situations where others haven't been able to handle this, if you will, okay? Release your ex. Clear those energies very soon. Did want to come out. I think there's something here about kind of, you know, there'll be this coming together with mutual acquaintances, or in a like an environment where maybe there's some kind of invitation there's an invitation to an event or something where you both kind of can come together with, but there is something here about be very mindful of the people around you, of who you can trust, because it might be that you need to turn to the people who you actually can trust to finally release all these energies that are still keeping you stuck to this past kind of X energy that's coming through. Because once you clearly, especially divine masculine energy within you, whoever you are, whatever you're embodied as, divine masculine energy within you makes a decision to take action. That's it. You know what you want. Do you know what I mean? There's that focus. Your vision is clear. Work through your fears. Scorpio energy there, okay? Work through your fears. I think this is something that someone's doing, because I think in the past they've had these experiences. Like I said at the beginning, there's been that betrayal, right? I think that's where the golden elixir is coming through. They're really kind of connecting on that level. You and your loved ones are safe, okay? There's this need to kind of, again, it's about knowing who are the trusted people around you, your support network, who the right ones are. Because when you're having this whole change, or like that molecular structure or whatever, the version of you who you are now is not who has ever existed before. Your hard work is paying off. You really are changing. And when I say that, it's not just a change, you're evolving. You're actually doing this intentionally. Yeah, you're elevating. Prosperity lies ahead. Taurus energy. Okay, Capricorn energy there as well. Bees are really important. Something about bees. Okay. And the people, they're not going to know you the same way anymore. There can be some who want to hold you back down there as who you once were. You're very close to achieving your goal. Keep working on clearing through those fears, truly, because it's working wonders. Nothing is yet set in stone. Okay, so stop keeping yourself stuck. Have faith in your dreams. Yeah, not just this mentality where everything's just stuck when it's not. I'm seeing like this mental prison. I think this has been something really tough for somebody. They've had to really clear through a lot. The answers you need are coming. New romantic cycle begins. This does feel like somebody who has far too many times in the past listened to people outside of them more than their own heart, okay? I do think that there's definitely this energy, it feels like, of coming together, of before they've just looked completely the other way. They've been so kind of blindsided is what I'm hearing. There's something about traditional kind of like romance that's really sticking out here for this energy, which is ironic because that's not how they've operated in the past. 8 of Wands, just as I said, it does feel like there's going to be this, with that heart-to-heart conversations as well, but there's, with the Hanged Man, it's on pause right now, is what I'm getting. It certainly has been on pause. Oh, somebody really doesn't want to act from a lustful space. They have done this in the past. They're learning how to harness this energy, this kind of lust-filled energy. I think they just can't, I'm just going to say it because this is what came through. It feels like they can't contain themselves with this energy or something. I don't know. They're learning what it means to be in more of a kind of, more of that king than page energy. Not even a knight either with this Knight of Wands, that's giving energies usually. And that's where they've operated from in the past, for sure. Yeah, I think that's kind of why they've just allowed themselves to listen. Oh, King and Queen of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. I think that there's promise here. I say promise, I don't really use that word usually. Empress at the bottom of the deck. There's this energy, this kind of this could be something truly moving forwards if you align your energies in the right way and really, gather that frequency within yourself in such a way that you're not being led by the subconscious mind, the wounds beneath the surface that are just silent until there's a trigger around. You recognize what these wounds are more. You allow yourself space and time to heal and clear through them, to understand them. Because that's where this full energy, this new beginning can really come through, okay? I'm just getting this energy. Oh my gosh, I just want some more answers or something, which is really strange. So I feel like that's what somebody else could be doing right now. They could be feeling like that and they need to have patience. Pay attention to the red flags. This isn't about rushing. This is about allowing yourself to recognize when these signs, separation at the bottom of the deck, when these signs are coming up, what they mean. Because I'm really looking at that card, release your ex. Not to repeat those cycles, especially with that new romantic cycle that was coming through. Romantic feelings that went on attraction. So it's worth exploring. These feelings are real and worth exploring. Oh. I think that's what somebody wants to do, but it's like their mind is it's still that subconscious clearing that is taking place. Disconnection, retreat, disconnecting from, I'm hearing the pulls, the binds. Sometimes when you're cleansing and clearing through that kind of, those cords and attachments, write about your thoughts and feelings. You really need to recognize that every little which way they can pull you. So sometimes it's even little memories that are coming through when you see something and you think of someone. But then how are you processing that? Because that's going to always happen. Eventually you'll get to a point where it doesn't even affect you anymore, but you've got to allow yourself to heal through and release and let go, right? You created this situation, you have the power to change it. It is in your hands, truly. I don't think you're giving yourself credit of how much power you have. You have a lot of strong energy is what I'm feeling, truly. Forgive yourself, you've done nothing wrong, important. I think someone really has been blaming themselves for a very long time. Sense of humour. Sense of humour, get a bit light-hearted. I think I'm seeing like you're digging a grave and you're just going to lay in there all by yourself. Don't do that to yourself, don't do that. You and your loved ones are safe. This is a second card now that are saying that energy. You and your loved ones are safe. Really important message to somebody. You and your loved ones are safe. This connection is safe, okay? Self-respect, again. Another confirmation. The person you're asking about is trustworthy. The more you respect yourself, the more you can really see yourself clearly and see where you don't need to keep blaming yourself. You know who and what played a part in your life, especially with this X energy. Detach from the situation. Guarded and protected again, right? Romance angels are helping you. So it's kind of like this energy of detaching from whatever went, I don't know if wrong is a word, but whatever went kind of south is what I've just heard in the past. So you can really see things clearly, recognize who and what played a part in which way they did, okay? Because whatever's moving forward, it's really going to be you're going through a real healing phase right now. Somebody truly is, it's divine masculine energy to come into that real inner union, recognizing your self-worth so you can truly act from a stable, anchored space, right? And trust yourself, which allows you then to recognize that there are people outside of you can trust, especially this divine feminine energy who holds that beautiful golden healing elixir, okay? The more you forgive yourself, the more you're allowing the kind of space for somebody else to forgive you too, okay? There is an opportunity moving forwards very soon, it's said, to come together. And I'm hearing clear of the air, so maybe that resonates with somebody. It's really about stepping back and seeing things on the bigger picture. With this write about your thoughts and feelings, I do think there could be somebody writing a message, okay? But in order for you to really trust yourself, you've got to understand your subconscious mind and what's been programmed there to influence the way you're acting and the decisions you're making. That's how you're going to really allow yourself to change that, to change a record, to restructure, to rewire, okay, and be that person who you can trust, especially when it comes to making these decisions and moving in this direction. You know, if you feel like you have to own up to something, then you have to own up to it, right? And whoever it is on the other side, they're going to respond in the way that they need to. There's no obligation. How much have you created a version of yourself and somebody else that you feel you're not living up to, or they're not fitting the template of, okay? You've got to keep an open mind. And if there's some kind of addiction here that's still playing out, then know that this is being healed through, okay? It's also being fed by some kind of fears inside somebody's mind, okay, that they're going to heal through. Let me know if this reading was for you. Look after you. Sending so much love.